Photoshop is now inside of ChatGPT, and I'm going to show you guys how to use it. First, go to your web browser and type in chatgpt.com. In order to do this, you'll need to go to the bottom left-hand corner on ChatGPT and click on your name, then click on the settings tab right here on the bottom left-hand side, and then a new window will open. And then we're going to want to click into the Apps tab. Now it says Add and Manage Apps. ChatGPT can use in your chats. Now click on Explore Apps. You'll notice it says Apps at the top and Beta because this feature is in beta. And it says Chat with your favorite apps in ChatGPT. And you'll notice there's a bunch of apps here. But obviously we're just looking for Photoshop. So as you can see, Adobe Photoshop is at the top under Featured. Go ahead and click on it. Now it says, Adobe Photoshop for ChatGPT simplifies photo editing for creators of any skill level for free. So this is completely free to use. You can use the free version of ChatGPT. You do not need to upgrade to the paid version of ChatGPT. And it says upload an image and easily remove the background, refine lighting and color, or apply creative effects like motion blur, duotone, glitch, and more. Intuitive controls let you adjust visuals to match your unique style while delivering high quality results. With one click, continue your edits in Photoshop on the web or mobile for full creative control. Ideal for creative profile photos, social posts, or any image that needs quick, high-quality enhancement without the learning curve. So from here, go ahead and click on Connect. Now, a new window has opened up and it says Use Adobe Photoshop in ChatGPT, edit images, add effects, and fine-tune with creative tools. So go ahead and click on Connect again, and you'll notice up at the top in green, it says Adobe Photoshop is now connected. So you've just connected Photoshop to ChatGPT, as simple as that. So now click on Start Chat and that will start a new chat using Photoshop inside of ChatGPT. So now you'll see inside ChatGPT that Photoshop is now connected. Now before we do anything, you're going to want to type in this prompt to find out all the things you can do with Photoshop inside of ChatGPT. So go ahead and copy this prompt. Type in @Adobe Photoshop. Give me a comprehensive list of all the adjustments you can apply with the Photoshop app. Then click on the black arrow pointing up or hit enter on your keyboard and give it a second. It says, here's a comprehensive, up-to-date list of all the adjustments you can apply in the Photoshop app. So now it says image adjustments, non-destructive controls. It says these are adjustments, not effects that modify lighting, color, and tone. They can be applied to the entire image or to selected areas using mask. Then it gives examples of different adjustments such as brightness, contrast, exposure, highlights and shadows, hue and saturation, vibrance, white balance, and gray, black, and white. So these are all the different adjustments that you can do with Photoshop inside of ChatGPT. Then it says what adjustments basically are. It says that they are slider-based and non-destructive. So they can be applied to the whole image, to the subject, to the background, and to specific objects via AI selection and masking. Now, it's also important to know the difference between an adjustment and an effect. It says what's not considered an adjustment. Then it gives a list of effects that are not adjustments, such as grain, glitch, duotone, bloom, motion blur, pixelate, tritone, lens distortion, etc. Now you'll notice at the bottom of that, it says, if you want, I can give you a clean effects only list next. And then you can go ahead and type in the prompt box, yes, please give me a full list of effects, and then click on the black arrow pointing up again. So now it says, here is a full official list of effects available in the Photoshop app. It says these are creative stylistic effects, not adjustments, and each one applies with default settings that you can tweak afterward using sliders, which I will show you guys in just a minute. So here's the list that ChatGPT gave me. It includes glow and light effects such as bloom, bokeh, blur, and it specifies what it does and what it's best for. Then there's vintage, film, and texture effects, grain, noise, photocopy. Then there's color and graphic stylization, which includes duotone, tritone sepia, halftone color. So next we have digital, retro, and experimental. You got the glitch effect, dither. To be honest, I never even heard of this. Then there's pixelate and then mosaic. Then next we have motion and distortion, radial blur, twirl, lens distortion, and then illustration and cartoon effects, which include comic. And then it gave me a quick reference of the full effect list that you can quickly reference back to at any moment. Now I'm going to show you guys how to easily blur the background of an image using Photoshop inside of ChatGPT. So go ahead and copy my prompt and type in at Adobe Photoshop, blur the background. Or you can just type in blur the background and click that black arrow again and just give it a second to connect to Photoshop and apply the effect. So you'll notice we now have our edited image. We now have blur added to the background, and you'll notice a couple different icons here. The one on the left is to save or download your image to your computer, and the one on the right is the sliders to further adjust the effect you just applied to your liking. And as I scroll down, you notice I can also adjust the amount of blur here as well with this slider. I think that looks a lot better. Now notice as I scroll down, Chat actually explains what it has done to my image. It says, I blurred the background for you while keeping the subject sharp and in focus. And then it offers suggestions of more things it can do to enhance the image further. So I decided to reduce the blur just a tad bit more. So now I'm going to scroll back up and click into the sliders icon on the right hand side. And I'm just going to click into there. And all that did was expand everything. It made it bigger. It expanded my image. And again, you can download it to your computer by clicking here. There's the slider again to adjust the effect further. And then you'll notice a blue button right above that says open in Photoshop. If we click into it, it will say creating link. And now it says ready to open. So now it will allow us to open up Photoshop on the web and continue our edit there if we want. Now, if you're not already familiar with Photoshop on the web, I have a separate video on that going in depth, talking all about it and how to use it. And if you want to check that out, feel free to do so by clicking the little card somewhere on the screen wherever it pops up. So now Photoshop on the web is now open. And you can see your image, your edit, and all the layers you used in the layers panel on the right hand side. You still have your contextual taskbar here at the bottom that allows you to select your subject, to remove the background, and even edit a smart object. So you can either continue editing on Photoshop on the web, or you can go back to Photoshop inside of ChatGPT like we were. So I'm actually going to go back to ChatGPT right now and continue editing my image there. So now I'm going to continue. I'm going to type in the prompt, add a creative effect. I want to show you guys how to add a creative effect. And then I'm going to click on the black arrow again. And then we just give it a second. So we can see it added grain. It says, I've added a creative grain effect to give the image a cinematic film-like texture. And then it explains how to refine it, which I will show you guys in a minute. And it also explains why grain works well here, and also offers more suggestions of different effects you can add to it if you'd like. So if you come over here to the right hand side, you'll see a couple of sliders. One adjusts the size of the grain and the other adjusts the strength of the grain. And you can also choose whether to toggle on or off chroma, so you can adjust the grain to your liking or preference. So you can play around with the sliders a little bit until the grain is adjusted to your liking. And now we're going to add another effect on top of this effect. So now I'm going to type in the prompt box, add tritone effect, and click that black arrow once again. So now it's added the tritone effect on top of the grain effect we already had. Now for the tritone, it converts the image into 3 colors. So you can come over to the right hand side and adjust the highlights, the midtones, and shadows, and there's 2 sliders, one for highlight balance and one for shadow balance. And you can adjust the contrast as well using the slider. And if you want to change the 3 colors, you can click into any one of them, the highlights, the midtones, or the shadows, and you can change the color if you want very easily, just by clicking into them. Now let's add another effect on top of these two. Let's add a comic effect, and then click on the black arrow once again, and give it a second to connect to Photoshop and apply the effect. And there we have it. It's now added a comic effect as well. So ChatGPT tells me every effect I have just layered on top. It says I have a stylized comic book look layered on top of background blur, film grain, and tritone color treatment. And then it also tells me how I can adjust the effect in the settings icon to tweak the effect, which I can do here in this panel on the right hand side by adjusting these sliders. So you can play around with these sliders a bit until you get it to your liking. And where it says halftone type, you can actually change the halftone type from dots to lines to squares to noise, whatever your preference is really. But I'm gonna stick with dots because I really like the dots. So now let's say you applied an effect you don't want or don't like anymore and you want to remove it. What do? All you have to do is simply type in the prompt box, remove whatever effect you applied that you're trying to remove. So in my case, I'm gonna type in remove the comic effect. And then I'm gonna go ahead and click on that black arrow once again. And now it's removed that comic effect for me. And Chat even tells me what remaining effects I'm left with, which makes it really easy to keep track of where you are while editing, so you don't get confused as to what you took away and what you added on and where you are in the scheme of things while editing. So now I'm gonna remove the tritone effect as well, by repeating the same step again. By typing in the prompt box, remove the tritone effect, and clicking that black arrow again. So now the tritone effect is removed as well. And now it tells me that I'm left with a blurred background, film grain, and natural color and vibrance. So it tells me how I can refine it further if I choose to do so. I hope you enjoyed this brief overview of how to use Photoshop inside of ChatGPT, and I hope you got some value out of this tutorial. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.